Hello, we're going to be looking at example 2 from your pre-calculus part 2 textbook found on page 889 of that textbook. Example 1 that I worked a little earlier or is in the math lab. It asked that we were graphing a hyperbola based on what was given to us. In example 2, we're doing right the opposite of that. They're giving us information, and from that information we've got to come up with the equation of the parabola. So the two things that it's giving me in example 2 is it's telling me that the foci are at 0, 3 and at 0, negative 3. Now, if you will graph these and get a visual of what we're talking about, it helps tremendously, I've found through the years, for you to do. So the foci is right here at 0, 3 and at 0, negative 3. So I would graph those on a graph so I could visually see those. At the same time, it's also telling me that the vertices are at 0, negative 2 and at 0, positive 2. So it's right there and right there. Now again, you have to remember that the distance from, first of all, the center is always going to be located halfway between the two foci or halfway between the two vertices. Either way you look at it, you're going to see that the center is at 0, 0. So that means, again, because both of those are going up and down, that means that your y value is going to come first. So this is the equation that we're going to pick. Y squared over a squared minus x squared over b squared is going to equal 1. Now, again, because we know that the center was at 0, and then from 0 to negative 2 or from 0 to positive 2, that means your a value is 2. Well, if your a value is 2, of course you're going to square it because that's what you do. It's a squared. So that's where the 4 is going to come in. So I can fill that part of it in. Y squared over 4 equals x squared over b squared equals 1. Now I've got to find b squared. Well, I don't know b squared, but I do know c because c is the distance from the center to a focus. And that distance right there is a distance of 3. So I've used the equation that I gave you a little earlier that you have to use when you're dealing with hyperbolas, that c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So if c squared is 3 squared, a squared we know is 2 squared, we can find out what b squared is. I'm simply going to subtract the 2 squared over to the other side, which is where we're getting this right here. 3 squared minus 2 squared, or 9 minus 4, means that b squared is equal to 5. Okay? So if b squared is equal to 5, let me scroll down here a little bit so you can see a little bit more. If b squared is equal to 5, then all we have to do is, remember it's going to go right here. So b squared is 5. All I'm going to do is put a 5 right there, which is what they did. And so we come up with the equation. The equation y squared over 4 minus x squared over 5 equals 1. And that's the standard equation of the hyperbola that would have vertices at 0, 2 and 0, negative 2, and that would have foci at 0, 3 and at 0, negative 3. That would be the equation. All right? Best of luck on these.